If you are familiar with this channel, you know I love to do experiments with settings on old cameras. The goal is to have a filmic look, which I believe will never be the same as actual film stocks. So the idea is to have stylized JPEG results that hopefully compensate for the idea of spending dollars on film stocks that are beyond priority for some of us. And this is by far the most filmic setting I have ever done, and it happens to be on this 10 megapixel Nikon 1V1. Since it is a stylized look, so it is not for everyone. This Nikon 1V1 can take regular, properly exposed photos, and the results are great. You might want to check my review on it, but I want to have more character in my photos straight out of the camera. I don't know what to call this setting. It's probably a mix of Harman Phoenix with Ektar as well as Portra mixed together. Initially, it was inspired by Harman Phoenix film stock. That is why you can see noise clearly in this image, which I think is crucial here to give it the film look. I have never shot Harman Phoenix, so you should never believe anything I say really. But from my research, it seems that Phoenix is known for its high contrast and noisy, especially if it is shot at box speed. It also has halation, and it also has this warm, slightly magenta-ish temperature. I want that in my JPEGs. But I also want my photos to be punchy like Ektar. But at the same time, I also want the settings to be convenient for shooting people, hence Portra maybe. So I tried a couple of settings and here I am. This is by far the best tweak I have ever done to get a filmic look in the old digital camera. At the very least, I think this is the closest I have ever gotten to mimicking film on old digital camera. It feels like I'm shooting with my Zorky 4 with slightly better Industar 50 lens performance. I just love the grain. It is visible but still retains sharpness. I mean, look at the hair frizz. It still retains the detail. I think the secret sauce here is in the ISO setting, which I set to high 1. ISO high 1 on Nikon 1V1 according to Nikon is equivalent to 6400. I really don't know if I am blindly in love with this camera, but the noise is unique for me. It is noisy, but the lens is sharp and it retains the sharpness even though it is quite grainy. The grain especially gives it the film look. It almost reminds me of Kodak Color Plus that I shot with my Zorky 4K. I mean, I don't really want this camera to behave like a regular camera. My phone can take clean photos. I like this camera to give me a more stylized look, which is certainly not for everyone. Now, from what I understand, Harman Phoenix has this halation effect. Obviously, it is not the case with the shots from this camera, but it almost gives us the same halation, but slightly magenta-ish in the highlights, I think. The daylight white balance, which I shifted toward magenta, is also giving us the warm look, slight magenta cast, but also just a little bit of green tint, but very minimal, just enough to prevent too much magenta cast. Maybe it gives us a bit of a Portra look. What do you think? I really like how the setting makes the JPEG results look. I think it will be more fun to see these results on prints. Maybe I should get myself a simple photo printer. You can also check these results on my Instagram account in case you are wondering how these photos would look on social media. Let's go to the settings. Go to the menu and straight to the white balance settings and select direct sunlight. Adjust the tuning to A6 or amber plus 6 and M3 or magenta plus 3. This will give us a very warm temperature and slight magenta tint. For the ISO, set it to high 1. This is crucial to have the grain effect. Then go to picture control and select portrait and set as follows. Sharpening 2, contrast set it to plus, brightness also plus, saturation plus, hue also plus, color space as RGB, active delighting off, long exposure noise reduction off, high ISO noise reduction also off. And the last secret sauce is the exposure compensation. Set it to plus 0.3. This is crucial to add the overexposed effect on the highlights that we already set to plus before. And that's it, you are good to go. These are my best settings so far, but you can tweak them to suit your taste. The color will be vibrant and punchy, but also contrasty. I have a second version which I'm not really happy with, especially when shooting in daylight. The only difference is the white balance setting. Everything else stays the same. I set it to A6 or amber plus 6 and M6 or magenta plus 6. I like the results when shooting indoors with no white elements in your photo like this one. It turned out great. I like the slight magenta sparks in the whole image resulting from the white balance. But once you shoot it in daylight or with any white elements in your photo, the magenta cast would be massive, which is why I prefer the first setting. It gives you more pleasing white colors rendering, warm just enough but not making it too magenta-ish. What do you think? The look is certainly not for everyone. It works for me and I would be glad if it also works for you. See you in the next video. Au revoir.